their team, though. They've been around longer. They've been through the grind, if you will. And Fnatic is kind of on the newer side, even though the roster is pretty star-studded.
I don't know, man. Fnatic are in an okay spot here, and if they take this, of course, it will be 2-0, and Newbee will be knocked out. I think what most people consider an upset. I'm actually going to go on Fnatic here. I think they've got the right picks. I think this QOPA is that cherry on top to take a win here.
I'll go with Newbee this game.
Great. All right, good. We're split. Here we go. We've got Annie and Purge once again for game number 2 of this BO3 series.
Thank you very much, Sayori. Like you mentioned, all down to this. It's Newbee's tournament life hanging in the balance. Fnatic looking to score themselves the first spot in the grand finals. Purge, what do you make of the draft?
Well, the whole SF bonus damage thing is definitely going to be really effective. The PA from QO is something that we've been seeing out of him for a very long time. And I think it could actually be quite good this game in combination with the Abaddon shield, since it's going to allow him to reflect a lot of damage. So I could see some early fights go actually quite well for Fnatic if set up well. But on the other side of the map, Newbee has a ton of disables. So I feel like even though they have aphotic shield, there's just going to be so much damage flying up from Newbee's side that it might be kind of hard for them to even get damage out in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, what are the timings of these two drafts going to look like? Who wants to get active? When are the first rotations going to be happening?
30 seconds.
I mean, rotations are always going to happen at any point in the game, but activity-wise, Tidehunter wants to hit 6, maybe use that for a team fight to set up like a Lina combo. CM's going to be roaming all game. On Fnatic side, we're just going to see probably Clockwork moving around roaming, and maybe the Rubik trying to get some levels, and then participating in fights like last game.
Speaking of our friend Rubik, it's not looking too good for him. He gets off the telekinesis now. Going to be smashing him back into Faith, so Crystal Maiden chugging after him. Oh man, DJ going to take one for the team here. They do have that second Frostbite, and it will be Faith scoring up the first blood, so CM going to be grabbing herself some boots early on if she wants.
It was a really good dodge, at least.
Say hi to Tango for me. Now,
little Barker today.
Shadow Fiend starting out with the 12 souls again, just one of the perks of having Clockwork on your team. And I mean, how effective is the Shadow Fiend safe lane as opposed to the mid? I've seen it a couple of times, but it has fizzled every time I've seen it. Oh, well, Purgy, global silence there, but either way. Hi.
Alright, had to move my dog to a different room. Sorry, she was too barky.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, I missed your sentence. My headset cut out.
It's all right. Ajit starting out in the safe lane with those 12 souls. I mean, how's he going to be playing differently than if he had to go solo up the mid lane?
Well, it's really weird to put Shadow Fiend in the safe lane. You don't have as much mana because you don't have bottles and runes to grab as often, and you can't really spam Shadow Rays because it pushes the lane. You don't really want to do that too much in the early game. But on the bright side, it's very good in a 1v1 against Tidehunter, or at least against Tidehunter, whereas a PA against Tide is just awful, because PA has really bad damage output in the early game. And if you're in melee against Tide, he's going to reduce your damage, he's going to crack and show a lot of it, whereas Shadow Fiend already offsets all of that because he has so much plus damage right now. So he can basically get souls as fast as he wants to, and as long as he doesn't get pressured too much, then he's going to have a really easy lane here.
I mean, Artie's starting out in terms of last hits. He's got himself 4 of them. Our last hit leader so far going to be the PA, just farming up with that dagger. I mean, QO, it's a high boomer bust hero. Potentially some serious early damage coming out of PA if she actually goes for the jump at level 4 or 5. But once her crit comes out, my god.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous, especially because Lina has very low armor early in the game. And he's going to take quite a bit of damage, though. I mean, he's got evasion, obviously, with Blur, but he still does have to worry about the Lina nukes getting him low. So it should be an okay matchup. Maybe roaming will make a big difference. Ooh, an Invis rune. This could be huge, actually. I think they'd love to get that to Clockwork to set up a potential PA kill here. But it's going to be spotted by the Observer Ward, so they may not be able to get something out of this.
We'll see how safe SCCC is going to play. Letting that salve go up, it will be clipped down by the dagger. Now, Febby, again, waiting in the wings, trying to see if that Lina does end up pushing out. Ooh, jeez. KP goes down up top. 3 heroes just get on top of him. Or rather, KP gets the kill on Ajit. DJ just has to stand there and watch.
That's the problem with SF. Like, if you're in the safe lane, you only have 1 armor. Your movement speed's pretty good. He's already got boots of speed, but all it takes is Gush and 2 other disables, and you're pretty much dead on Shadow Fiend every time because you cannot stop them from running at you.
Well, speaking of running at you, looks like Faith might be in some trouble. Gonna get trapped in the cogs here. Clockwork gonna put that Invis rune to use eventually, and we'll get Ajit back in it. So he tumbles down, but then immediately gets a kill once he TPs back into lane.
And that's really good of him to get the last hit as well, because that maxes his souls again. So even though he did die, it doesn't matter. He's back up to full power. At least what a Shadow Fiend will be at this point.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about the bottom lane here. Juggernaut, gonna be played by Moogie again. I mean, same exact positioning from Newbee, but how does Fnatic's difference change here? Like, what's the different playstyle between an Axe and an Abaddon? That's Febi's.
I think it's much better for Abaddon than the opposite matchup. It's another kill here on Shadow Fiend. Really nice grab there.
Yeah.
Abaddon is very good at 1v1s against melee heroes pretty much, and he does have to worry a little bit about Jug spin, and Jug can trade fairly well because of his passive, but I think Ohio's going to be pretty happy here.
Yep, getting some really good levels, 4.25 on him, same matchup as Moogie. Neither have had to leave the lane so far, but now Moogie going to bully him back, taking advantage of the fact that Ohio is almost fresh out of mana and doesn't have that borrowed time yet. So free farm going for our Juggernaut here, but still some grounds to make up. Our Shadow Fiend leading the charge there.
Ooh, Kaka's trying to steal the bounties. Oh, he stays really long though. They're so low.
Oh man, he's looking. Kaka gets trapped in the cogs. QO's gonna stick around for this. QO wants to fight, and QO will be able to find the kill. Ohio snaps up credit for that one. They don't even need the shield burst. And that PA living. She's got a guardian angel behind her.
Yeah, the bounty rune loss is kind of tough because I could have gotten him back to the lane really easily. He could have gotten 2 bounty runes with bottle charges, but instead he has to hit the base, TP back in. Either way, I think that's actually pretty good space-wise from the Nyx Assassin, so I think Kaka's going to be happy with that.
Yep, our Lina, I mean, getting some good space to herself. SCCC, I mean, is this Lina just going to get totally vulnerable to the dagger as PA starts to get up crazy damage? Because she's not the tankiest hero.
Yeah, but it definitely is very reliant on whether or not the PA gets crits, and also she'll probably need backup on the PA, because if you jump on Alina, she's just going to stun you and put you in threat of dying anyway. So kind of goes both ways. Whichever team has as a hero rotate in, it will be more likely to get the kill.
Oh, yeah, Impale comes in, protecting SCCC for now. Clockwork is going to get stunned up by the Light Strike Array, and Febi goes down, but Kilo able to walk back to safety. So not as bad as it could have been for Fnatic, but still not able to score the kill they were looking for.
Yeah, perfect rotations from them to set that up. It would have been a Lina kill otherwise. And kind of cool to use Dagger into cogs to ensure that.
Yep.
So Kaka just continues to roam, try to be where he needs to be, whichever place is important. Ohio is now level 5, which is solid for him. It's definitely a little dangerous moving forward against Jug. As soon as Jug hits 6, Abaddon can definitely be outplayed.
Yeah. Moogie just going to be continuing the farm. Is this going to be the same Juggernaut build that we saw last time, going for the Sange and Yasha rather than the Manta Diffusal, or do you think he needs the Manta now?
I'm honestly not very sure. He could go something completely different, actually. Maybe.
QO living with that Laguna Blade, just a sliver of health, but does go down to the one right click. Lina getting the most out of the end of that double damage rune, so great bit of lockdown there. PA has to go and TP back to tower once again.
Yeah, it's just the problem. Alina's one of the best nuking heroes in the game. It's very difficult to stay alive through that kind of a thing.
Bottom lane, Ohio almost gets trapped in, manages to walk himself out of the body blocks, and he's getting really close to that level 6. So the time where they can easily gank this Abaddon is drawing to an end, and well, they're going for it. Well, they've got the opportunity. Ohio going to be trying to juke around, but with the Crystal Maiden Frostbite, they've got the damage they need. So Abba falls down right after the mid PA drops, and things are starting to look good for Newbee.
Sorry. That was a good trade because he ganked the healing ward right before he died, so it's going to be okay for him.
He'll make it through. But
75 more gold. One kind of cool thing about the SF in the safe lane, though, is that due to the change in experience gain from Deny, is that SF in the safe lane in some ways is really good because he has so much plus damage that he can actually deny every single creep, and very few heroes can actually match him in that. So he's actually getting way more levels than he should normally due to the extra experience from getting denies.
Down here in the bot lane, Ohio, he's angry. He hits his 6. He's going to use that borrowed time as he is just diving under tower. Nyx goes in, breaks up the fight. Now Febi with the cogs push back will secure the kill onto the Jug. Well played there. Great rotation in. Now Carapace going to be giving some trouble to Ohio, who does end up going down. Is that still worthwhile?
I would say so, yeah. If you're killing the carry first and then you die afterwards, it's almost always worth it. So I think they're going to be completely fine with that one. Like, if they slow down the Juggernaut, the only carry potential coming from Newbee is just Lina. And Lina is easier to play around, I think. Like, magic damage carries are usually easier to play around than a core is, like Jug. Because heroes like Juggernaut, worst case, they buy a BKB and they right-click and you die and you can't really do that much about it. It's kind of what it feels like. And it's a lot easier to execute. Whereas spell-based heroes, they have to land the disable, they have to do the disable follow-ups, and they have to kind of wait for their cycles to come off cooldown. Whereas carries just kind of like rampage through fights in a lot of times, at least physical-based ones.
7 minutes in now. I mean, again, kill score looking good for Newbee right now. Net worth is slightly in their favor, but are Newbee on track to have a really good mid game, or are there still some weaknesses that they need to take care of?
They're doing okay. I think both teams are very equal at this point. It really comes down to how they match up in the early engagements. Initiation-wise, Newbee has a huge advantage from the Tidehunter, and I think that's going to be a big part of the game as it moves forward. But he's got to get a blink first before that actually becomes easy to do. So maybe the blink on Tide is the thing we're looking for Newbee, or maybe can he initiate at good angles. On Fnatic's side, they need to ideally kill somebody like Lina at the start of the fight, or Jug. If they can do that, it's a huge advantage for them. And we'll see what QO does as well this game. He's got decent last hits considering the matchup, 49 right now. It's not bad. Kind of curious to see what item build he goes for. Historically, whenever he'd play mid-PA, it's always Vlad's first with phase. But with the change to lifesteal now, stacking with that, so he might just shave off a little bit of gold and go for Mask of Death into a Deso afterwards. So I'm curious to see what he does.
Yeah, might prioritize getting that damage up ASAP so Fnatic can find those rotations, and it looks like they're going to be making an attempt here in the mid lane, although Lina, pretty keen on this, going to be walking back, playing safe.
Yeah, and that's one good thing about playing Lina mid. You just nuke the wave, the creeps die, and you leave again. You don't really have to just sit around and wait for an opportunity to get ganked, basically. They're going to walk right into the enemy team, though.
Yep, DJ goes in, gets the lift on the Lina. They'd like to take her out. Dagger comes through, and it's not going to be a crit. SEC returns the favor, goes straight for the Laguna onto the PA's skull, and she does fall. So gank attempt from Fnatic will be thwarted as Newbee bring in the proper heroes for this. Now they're going to go, they get the Gush and the Freeze. They're going to dump the Omni Slash as well. No expense spared for that little Rubik. 2 heroes down on Fnatic, and now Newbee make a big rotation up into the top lane. Jit going to start feeling the pressure here, and may end up losing his tower on the back of this.
Yeah, he's probably going to have to TP out of the lane, yeah, because he sees all the heroes. He knows that they're going to dive him if he stays around, so he's got to go somewhere else, do something else, and it's going to be him pressuring the safe lane for the enemy team. So a little bit unfortunate there for Fnatic, but you can really see the weaknesses of PA here against a hero like Lina. And there's a lot of cases where PA mid can work against mid heroes because most of them are pretty low armor in a lot of cases. But if you don't get a crit and your allies don't initiate before the Lina goes in, all it takes is a couple nukes and your hero dies. It's the counter against PA early game. It's just nuke damage.
Down bottom, Ohio diving in is borrowed time proc, trying to chase down Faith. They will get him with the long range raise. So Shadow Fiend keeping his net worth up. Catching up almost with the Lina at this point, so safe laner online, but meanwhile up top, SCCC and Juggernaut going to help out and take out this first tower.
Yeah, very common to see teams do this kind of trading thing, and that's just because it's difficult to defend enemies diving you in the mid lane in a lot of cases. Baby's got to be careful here. If Kaka can land a stun, nope.
Yeah, he's just going to be backing out. Fevy just strolling around, realizing what danger he was in, but for now just going to be some Newbee pressure into the mid lane. Fevy getting a little bit close here. He's got that Cox. He's going to try to hookshot away, but doesn't hit a creep. Trying to buy himself some time, but the Light Strike array comes in. Another Laguna dumped out, and Kaka scores the kill with the Impale. So now this tower vulnerable as well. Big rotation from Newbee. They go, they get kills, they get top, they're going to get mid. Are they just on a roll here, or do Fnatic still have a good shot in this?
They still have a good shot. Very, very good for Newbee, though, to take that tower. And all comes down to Febby making that mistake. He did not need to die there. He was just trying to pull the creep wave past. That way the tower didn't die, and he felt comfortable because I think the Nyx stunned semi-recently. But and then he threw the hookshot because he realized he made a terrible mistake, but then he completely whipped the creep wave, and as a result, there he is. Completely dead with losing their mid-tier 1. That's not a good place to be in for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, how important is farming space and map control for Fnatic? Can they still thrive if they're limited to, you know, just a small chunk of jungle, or do they need to spread out and farm?
I think it's semi-okay because they can jungle fairly well, like Shadow Fiend especially, and PA's decent at it. Again, depends what items that she ends up picking up, but and she does go for an Iron Talon almost immediately. That way she can jungle better, but they definitely have options. But I would say that the Newbee looks a little bit faster farming because they're mostly nuke-based. But you know, Nyx can sometimes go slow. Juggernaut should be fine. It looks like they're gonna go for a fight though.
Yep, Nyx trying to set up that Impale. There's going to be a deep hook shot in onto the Lina. How are they going to follow this up, though? QO rotating in from the back of the tower. Omni Slash goes in. Clockwork's going to eat it up. Eats the Laguna Blade as well, so 2 ults down. Dire, they're still up and fighting. They've still got their cores. Can they actually take this out of Baden? No borrowed time for him. He gets killed off by one more Dragon Slave. Newbee, they're getting low. There will be a Ravage going in. They isolate QO, and he can't do a goddamn thing. 3 heroes killed off, and Newbee lose nothing. Newbee there.
They had a perfect initiation. That was exactly what they needed. But Lina, with her first item purchase, was a 4-step. I think what she did is looked at the draft and said, how's the only way I die this game? And it's getting cogged, hook-shotted, and followed up with more disables. And as soon as she forced, the whole fight was over. It was Fnatic way out of position, past the tower. The other heroes couldn't follow up because they didn't have BKBs yet. Fight's over. And now the game is looking really tough for Fnatic. Kind of looks like this is just going to be Newbee snowballing big ways.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this PA being high risk, high reward, but not getting those crits that she desperately needs, just not raking in the kills. 0-3 currently. And it looks like she has a BKB queued up for her first item, so trying to be more survivable, but not really going to amplify the damage.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, she even got some crits in that fight. It's just, you need damage items, and mid PA has some issues. And if you die this many times, you definitely have issues.
All right.
And the fewer kills you get, it means the slower your damage items comes out, which means the slower you farm creeps. Whereas Lina just needs levels, and no matter what happens, she's going to get farm. Whereas the PA is on the opposite side, needs kills to get farm, to get items, and Fnatic's in a bad spot, that's for sure.
I mean, what is Fnatic's road back in this? Is the QO BKB really going to help out, or is it just kind of a downward spiral?
The goal for it is basically that he can jump in, knowing that his opponents won't be able to stun him for 10 seconds. So if he sees an opening, he will go in. He still has to worry a little bit about Omni Slash, but doesn't have to worry about Ravage, doesn't have to worry about Lina combo, doesn't have to worry about CM. He can jump on the CM or the Lina without fear of getting killed. Or at least disabled. I mean, if by that point, if Lina has an Ags, yeah, okay, BKB's wasted, but it'll give him some teamfight ability, which is exactly what he needs.
It's still a long way away. It looks like he is going to bail out, not going to go for the BKB, instead that early Deso like you talked about, but not getting the Morbid Mask first. Is that lack of lifesteal?
It's okay. The lifesteal is good, but ultimately HP is maybe the more important thing. And the Abaddon is also finishing Vlads, so there will be a Vlads in the game, it's just not going to be on him.
Oh, hook shot in. They trap the next assassin, but there is going to be KP coming forward, and SCCC with another double damage rune. They kill off the Rubik. Kaka still alive and kicking, and now it looks like Febby going to be diving down as well. They just need one more last hit, and that's going to be a wicked 6 streak from Arlena. 7-0-3. This lane in the mid went exactly as she needed, and she's continued to score kills. She's keeping her relevance up.
Alright, we're back to Mech Shadow Fiend. It's happened. Gone full circle here. I haven't seen this in a while, but this was a thing for a bit. Maybe 2 years ago or something. It was popularized just because SF needs survivability, so he buys the item because he can farm it easily, get some armor, and it should help his team win team fights a bit better. But it's been a long time since I saw Mech SF, and nothing's really changed on this item to my knowledge that has made it better. It's just possibly a build choice due to him being safe lane and his team needing better team fight. It's a kind of good in that way because his opponents are very burst heavy, including Juggernaut, Tide, all of those heroes are bursty. So if you get a mech to offset that and you survive the burst, then you can certainly win fights. And he's got the mech, there will be a Vlads and an Abaddon providing heals. This could make some difference here in the team fights.
Yeah, I have seen Mech Shadow Fiend a bunch. Usually when it is played safe lane, you can get away with going for that. Some of the build I've seen is going mech into the Hurricane Pike. But is Ajay going to have mana problems going for that early mech?
He definitely might. I completely agree with that possibility, but it's going to be a lot of arcanes, I think, on Fnatic's side. Rubik will eventually buy his if they win a team fight, and maybe Abaddon. I know Abaddon's got phase. So yeah, maybe one arcanes. It's going to take some careful tread swapping, basically.
Yeah, he'll have to be careful not to just spray out raises left and right and leave himself short of a mech. For now, you see Mugi feeling so safe in this dire jungle. I mean, there's not a care in the world here. He's got that ward trying to keep him safe, but even if Nyx Clockwork goes for the hookshot, Mugi can just spin and maybe turn this right back around on him. So this Juggernaut, I mean, he's starting to be a problem. Goes in and picks up the casual Yasha, not going to build up the S and Y, not going to decide to go for the early Manta. Instead, has that Silver Edge queued up again.
This is completely fine. He's just trying to pressure the map basically and farm areas aggressively so that Fnatic can't. So Fnatic right now feels very, very clumped. They have to worry about Nyx spotting them out. They have to be worried about 5v5 team fights, so they kind of are just hanging around each other because they've lost so much space on the map already. Weird item purchase, Solar Crest on Nyx. Huh.
It'll be alright. And again, once Juggernaut actually gets up that Silver Edge, Phantom Assassin is so easy to kill. If he can actually get that break on her, her blur goes away and she's just food.
I think that's why Nyx also bought Solar Crest, because the accuracy buff that you get is 35%. So if we do the math, it should be half of that is what it applies towards PA. So if Solar Crest is used on her, she only has like 32% evasion. So it's a little bit better for them. really helped him with Roche as well. But tower's going to go down. Newbee's probably just going to do these like 4 or 5 man push things where they take all the towers and then ideally Roche advantage, which they have, and then go high ground.
I really like the choice to give the Aegis to the Lina. I think she is by far the most vulnerable. And you mentioned as soon as PA jumps her, she needs to get that stun or she could be killed. And, well, she's got a second life. She'll come right back in and will be able to get her spells off no matter what.
Maybe a third, depending on how many Bloodstone charges she gets. Definitely a lot to worry about for Fnatic here. Farming neutrals in the meantime is pretty much what they feel comfortable doing right now. And they don't want to take a fight anyways because their opponents have Aegis. So this is where things get tough. Can you find your opponents when they're solo? Can you try to get those kills?
I mean, how much does Fnatic want to be sitting back and farming right now? Do they want to be smoking up and finding picks, or is farming
absolutely.
A-okay?
If they can find picks, it's definitely the best thing they can do. But actually finding those picks is going to be difficult because Newbee's not going to split up their heroes too much. In fact, they're going to be the ones in trouble.
All right, Abaddon, he's just full YOLO in here as Borrowed Time's only level 2, so he's going to be distracting the entire Radiant team, but he goes down and doesn't really find anything for it. He just kind of jaunted down mid and slapped the tower once.
Yeah, he was very dead at that point. I think that he did that so that it would have forced some Fnatic reaction. Maybe it could have been a support or something. Maybe he thought that they wouldn't be able to chain disable him, but yeah, ends up getting killed. They don't really profit from that other than kind of knowing where their opponents are briefly. If they can kill Febby as well, this would be huge.
Yep, they force staff forward. The impale off the mark. Febby running for the hills. The gush, is it going to be there? They do get the gush off. Now Faith chasing after him. There's an attempt at the hook shot here, but he's going to be going right back into the wave. Febby gets his mana burned off, but we'll keep alive here. Not going to be going down. Meanwhile, down bottom, SCCC just soloing this tower like it's nothing. And they're going to bring Mugi forward, and that's the last tier 2 on the dire side of the map. Fnatic rapidly losing control over this map.
It would have been a really nice kill to get because their opponents are so far ahead in net worth, but it doesn't work out. No tower deny either. Oh, ganked the healing ward. The TP's in. They're going to take a fight here. They're going to try to get a kill.
Yep, Febby, no hook shot, just has to chase Faith the old-fashioned way, trying to catch her out in the cogs. They get that little bit of slow with the miscoil now. Battery Assault to lock down the CM. And that's a pretty heavy engage just to get the CM. Meanwhile, Lina is going to be up here soloing down QO again, getting flashbacks to game number 1 of QO dying in the safe lane over and over.
This one is not going to stop, though. I don't really see... I mean, PA definitely can start one-shotting people, but everybody's buying so many armor items on Newbee's side that it's going to be less effective than normal. And the faster, instantly Lina queues up her Shiva's Guard. That's the thing to buy here. But as soon as he buys a plate mail, he's going to really limit the effectiveness of what the Desolator does. So everything is just really rough here, Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, PA is such a snowball hero, and you talked about it. She got no kills in the mid lane. Yeah. She's still 0-4. And it's not even like there's super squishy supports to gank. The Crystal Maiden really staying in the buddy system most of the time. It's pretty hard just to dagger and jumper without getting immediately locked down.
Yep, exactly. So if there's nobody to get free kills on, if you're this far behind, if you're vulnerable to burst heroes and they have invis heroes to set up those kills, then he's just kind of passively farming to the best of his ability to wait for the right team fight. Buybacks did work for Fnatic last game. I don't know if it'll be the same this one, but maybe it'll make an impact. He does go for the Hurricane Pike on the Shadow Fiend like you predicted. Though they smoke under a ward, though.
Yep. Pings start coming out, Radiant. And they know what's up. Just all of a sudden, poof, 5 heroes off the map. So there's going to be a good guess of what's going on. And TP's into the Shrine. It looks like they want to charge right on into this. Now, Ravage is on cooldown, so they might be able to...
They do scan.
Oh, yep, they know what's up here. Long wrap around here. I mean, QO just needs to find his first kill. He's got to get a snowball here. If he dies and doesn't take out anyone with him, Fnatic are just going to kind of roll over. They just don't have much damage to work with.
Yeah, I mean, it was smart for them to at least predict this. The Observer they had very deep spotted the Nyx. The Nyx ditched pretty much right away upon the smoke, so they predicted that their opponents did see them smoke. They scan for it. They approach in a smart way. No bad fight happens. They would have loved to get a kill or take a good fight there, but unfortunately, their opponent spotted it out.
Yeah, Newbee is still working in a pack, but it seems like Fnatic are just going to be scooting themselves out. Let's talk more about the Shadow Fiend. You said that he ended up going for the Hurricane Pike. He's going to get the BKB. Is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough damage output for Fnatic to actually score kills? Because right now, 17-6, they're just not getting bodies on the floor.
I mean, he definitely does a lot of damage. He does raises are pretty low cooldown, do good damage. His right click is very, very strong. And just being alive provides -6 armor, potentially. So if he can just stay alive, and that's the purpose of his items, stay alive, keep his allies alive, they should eventually hopefully get their opponents over extended, and that's when you get kills.
QO gonna be dumping it onto the Tidehunter, but that is probably the hardest kill in the game to get. Busting a Ravage for it with no regrets. KP feeling good about that. Just gonna go Guardian Greaves himself after, and a little pat on the back there. So unfortunately, PA now 0-5. I mean, what do you think about that jump on the Tide? Even if Tide was solo, that's still not an easy kill for PA.
Yeah, there's actually no way he kills the Tide there. It might have been a frustration thing. It might have been a QO thing. Who knows? But killing Tide there was not going to happen, that's for sure. As soon as he casts Anchor Smash, that's 60 less damage that the PA has, so the crits wouldn't even be that big of a deal at that point.
Kaka potentially going to get jumped here. Killing the next assassin would be sweet there. We're going to go for the Carapace, and Borrowed Time popped already from Ohio, maybe a little bit premature. And there is nothing to cancel that TP except the hook shot, which flies right on through. Febby just a tiny bit late with that.
Yeah, it looked like he was blocked by creeps, so he had to get past them first. Doesn't work out. Arcane's finally down for Rubik. Not the worst, but not the best either. The map control for Newbee is just so strong. They basically control all of Fnatic's jungle, so Fnatic is pretty much just farming this area next to their Ancients repeatedly. This is the safe place for them to get creeps, but that's very few camps compared to what else they could do.
Yeah, everyone on Fnatic's just slowly but surely starving. Shadow Fiend, you know, really the only one with a firm grasp on that net worth chart. And it's him versus the world, because this PA just can't pull her weight. She's sitting there, significantly lower net worth than the Tidehunter, who's just been sitting back, scoring some Ancients. And well, he's going for a Blink next, so those Blink Ravage is going to be coming out as high ground pressure comes forward. Top lane, Omni Slash comes in. Nice effort, Faith. Really good way to cheer on your teammates as Moogie finishes him off.
Yep. 6 deaths now for QO. They really needed the lane to go better. They needed their ganks to be more effective against the Lina, maybe get a couple kills. If PA gets ahead against the Lina, that's actually very dangerous for the Lina, but she just has so many other good options that get her back into the game easily, and PA just doesn't. It's definitely a boomer bust mid hero, that's for sure.
Yeah, not one of those heroes that sits back and works really hard and farms up and then charges at you at 50 minutes with no kills but still gets a full wipe. She just needs to snowball and kills, and you called it out. High risk, high reward, and this game, PA fizzles. The good news is Fnatic, they have a little wiggle room. They are a game up in this series. It's a best of 3, but you don't want to get tilted like this.
Yeah, looking like the Batman's gonna die.
Yeah, get
Possibly,
stunned up.
we'll see.
They're going to wait out the Borrowed Time. There is going to be a hook shot in onto the Nyx Assassin, but again, a 4-staff out. That 4-staff has paid for itself 10 times over. Kyo jumps in and finds a kill on the Lina, finally. That's going to be 1,000 gold straight to her. All right, PA, you just got to get like 3 or 4 more of those and you're good.
So I think what happened there was I'm pretty sure the Blade Mail reflected the Laguna Blade is what happened. And instantly the PA jumped in. And I think the curious part is that Lina purchased Mystic Staff there instead of grabbing the Plate Mail first. I think that's a terrible idea in this game. If you're against a PA and a Shadow Fiend and they're losing the game, I think you just get your armor up as fast as you can. Like, you don't need more bonus damage, more mana pool. And he goes down as a result, doesn't suicide in time, and all of a sudden Kyo's got some comeback. It's not a ton, but it's a little.
It's something to grab onto. It's not just a drop-dead PA instantly in these fights. And now finally we'll go in for the BKB. So a little more survivability for her. Still, again, a long way to go until Fnatic are back in this. You look at the net worth and it's just been a slow, steady slide in Newbee's favor, but it stopped accelerating. Newbee running out of tier 2 towers, running out of, easy objectives to get. Their next hurdle is going to be high ground, and this next Roche will make it a lot easier. Still about 2 minutes on that, though.
All right, create more space, look for more fights, I guess. Ohio's picked up a Plate Mail now, going for a Lotus Orb to reflect a little bit more damage in fights. Could maybe go in Shadow Fiend. He's low in mana, though. Not enough to mech and cast spells, but he's got his BKB finished.
Yep, so next fight, going to have Shadow Fiend BKB up, and Phantom Assassin getting close there as well. Just needs a couple more minutes of farm, a couple more camps, and I mean, this next fight, if Shadow Fiend and QO are able to go and actually get the initiation they want and be magic immune the entire time, Newbee might bite off more than they can chew, and it could be a full wipe for Fnatic.
It's possible, but the Shiva's Guard is up for Lina now, so she's not the easy kill. Maybe CM is, only a medallion and an urn for armor, but
A little ring around the
gotta
rosy
kill
here.
somebody.
Everyone just doing a little loop-de-loop, so now Radiant,
Oh, this is so bad for
they're on the
Fnatic.
high ground. KP
Oh,
smokes
so
into Poppy, goes in for the immediate ravage. Oh, it's everything they need. Febby hook shots up to the high ground, but gonna eat an Omni Slash on the way. QO goes in and does blow up the Crystal Maiden. It's a nice easy kill for her, but Shadow Fiend's dead without buyback. QO still going in onto SBCC, but now she's tanky. You talk that up, and Light Strike Array off the mark. KP surrounded. There's a nice impale, though. Kaka scores everything he needs. The Dragon Slave comes in. The damage is unreal. DJ going to be going down to Blade Fury. Now Ohio just going to be sitting back. The Blade now going forward. PA does get killed off. It's looking grim here. Buyback from the Clockwork. Oh no. Oh no. Abaddon goes down as well. That's a full wipe. And there are buybacks committed from that Clockwork. That's a 6-hero wipe. They lose the Crystal Maiden for it. And now the Roshan is there for the taking.
It's just the worst possible case for a fight angle for Fnatic there. They're on the dire side. They didn't expect their opponents to be behind them. Their opponents were behind them and had the high ground advantage, which means Tide sees them first. He gets a perfect ravage off to stun everybody at the start of the fight. And that was Shadow Fiend dying right at the beginning. Didn't get his BKB off in time. And with SF dead, we don't see his ultimate to reduce damage. We don't see it to slow people. Fnatic did a pretty good job almost taking a good fight win there by killing SCCC. But it didn't work, and everybody got ultra wiped. So maybe if they lose one more fight like that, game's 100% over. But it's looking very close to over already.
Yeah, you can see there the acceleration we talked about. It's back up and roaring. This rack's going to be very difficult to defend. Ajit just has to hurricane himself out of danger there. Now, Mugi just continues to go onto the towers. Tier 3s have been breached. QO, he's hunting. Ohio's going to be going in, gets impaled up, does have to borrow time, but that's going to be burned down. Hookshot off the mark. Febby goes on to QO and can't reinitiate on the enemy team. Now Ohio, they know his ult's down. BKB out by the Shadow Fiend. His 10-second BKB not doing a whole lot, just keeps him alive for now, but he's not able to take these fights. Crystal Maiden going to get off a fantastic ult, and they will kill off PA. She's dead for 50 seconds with no buyback. And it's looking like this potentially could be GG. Now DJ locked down as well. Ajit, the lone survivor, slowed down by the gust. He's just going to be body blocked in an Omni Slash to finish the job. I wouldn't be surprised to see a GG come out right now. Fnatic, they drop game 2, and we are going to a game number 3. Both of these teams' tournament lives on the line. Grand finals going to be the reward here.
It was just a very, very one-sided game from the 10-minute mark and on. Like, QO, 2 games in a row basically died a lot in his lane. That game was a lot harder.